So I'll get started today, and apologies if it's a slightly longer webinar because there is quite a lot of content to cover in terms of ACOS optimization, which is always a very popular topic in Amazon. So quickly getting started, right? We'll cover a really quick basic in terms of what is ACOS and understand the whole formula behind calculating ACOS. Because whenever I speak to sellers, there are always a few misconceptions when it comes to ACOS, and then how to actually increase conversion and why does conversion actually matter when it comes to ACOS. And then of course, number 3 is kind of a demo of how to set an appropriate ACOS for your business. So going straight into it, right? What is ACOS? It's a short form for essentially advertising costs, right? It sounds complicated or it sounds like a jargon, but it's actually the most common jargon for Amazon, and I think most sellers are very familiar with it. It's advertising cost of sales. And the formula for ACOS is actually total ad cost, meaning how much you spend on ads, divided by your total sales coming directly from advertising. So the key factor here is the bottom part, what you're dividing by, which is the total sales from advertising. Note that it has to be sales coming from your ads, or what we also call ads attributed sales. So a lot of sellers actually get confused because sometimes they just take their total ad spend divided by their total sales in general, right? But we actually get sales from advertising in one way, but we also have organic sales, right? Maybe you might not be advertising all 5 of your products, right? You could only be advertising 1 product. So if you do get sales from your remaining 4 products that are not being advertised, those are what we consider organic sales. And if you take total ACOS divided by total sales in general, that is what is popularly known as TACOS, or total advertising cost. So please note that there are 2 different kind of definitions, but in general, when we call it ACOS, the sales that we are factoring in is ad attributed sales. That means the sales coming from your advertising spend. So this is the quick kind of FAQ for most of our sellers as well, right? So for example, if we have basically 10% ACOS, what this means is that essentially you could be spending $2 on your advertising, and then you're getting $20 from your sales from advertising. Then your ACOS will be 2 divided by 20. That's 10%. Yeah, sorry. And essentially, how to really interpret ACOS, right? So of course, the 2 factors which we will deep dive into later. You will see that essentially it's determined by mainly your advertising costs and your sales. But there are a few misconceptions about ACOS, right? For a lot of sellers, their opinion is, of course, the lower the ACOS is always the better. And then, of course, the second misconception is that maybe you're doing something wrong with advertising. That's why your ACOS is higher than that of other sellers. But I want all of the sellers to know that, essentially for each category, they usually have quite different ACOS range. So one good example is, like, for example, for the beauty category, in general, I would say for beauty category, it's a little bit more competitive. You will notice that, for example, CPCs, which is the cost per click that you're being charged, tends to lean a bit higher. So it's normal for certain categories for your ACOS to be a little bit higher. And that's something that we kind of have to find out, and don't be too worried. The other thing is also a lot of very new sellers, when you just start advertising, you tend to see very high ACOS, especially when you've just launched your first or your second ad campaign. That is also normal because, as remember from the previous essentially formula, it's divided by sales. So if your sales, in the beginning stages, you're still trying to ramp up your sales, right? You're a new seller, you've only started selling for a few months. It's normal for ACOS to be high because that's simply how the formula works, right? That's why we always warn our new sellers, in the first 3 months, if you're just a fresh new seller in the first 3 months, you don't even have ratings and reviews in the beginning. You've only just had your first few orders. It's normal for ACOS to lean a bit higher in the first 3 to 6 months, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. You're essentially just trying to increase our impressions. And I would advise sellers to not be too pressured by that and then immediately turn off their ad campaign, because you're still trying to capture that honeymoon period and you're still trying to essentially accelerate, the beginning of your business. So essentially, this is the first few FAQs that I want sellers to keep in mind for ACOS. And essentially, if we actually further break down our ACOS formula, right, your total ad spend, what this means is basically the number of clicks that you are getting and the number of, and essentially the cost per click for either the keyword or for the product target. So especially when you start targeting, your manual keywords, you'll see Amazon like putting up in the ads console, what is the CPC per keyword, right? So in example of a kitchen pot, kitchen pot in broad match could be 40 cents per keyword, right? And then you multiply that by the number of clicks that you are having, that will be your total ad spend, for example. And then divided by your total sales from advertising. So here the further breakdown is that you will take your average selling price and then you essentially want to multiply by the number of orders, right? So going by this logic, a lot of sellers, their first instinct, right, I need to lower ACOS. My ACOS very, very high. I need to lower it ASAP. So the first thing they think is the numerator, right? Like essentially, I find keywords that are very expensive, I take them out. Or how much I'm spending on ads in total, I just lower like my total advertising spend, or I just turn off all my campaigns. That's the easier solution, right? But actually, the key to ACOS management is figuring out a way to increase the denominator as well, is to increase your number of orders, or alternatively, you can also consider a more premium or premiumization kind of a strategy in the long term. Instead of, for example, you've just launched for 3 months and you've launched your first automatic campaign, and then you notice your ACOS is higher than 50%, maybe it's 100%, 200%, you just shut off all your ad campaigns. Of course, it will lower your ACOS in the short term, but what that is going to impact is also your number of orders, right? Because you're not launching any ad campaigns, people are not going to see your ads, and it's going to have an impact on your impressions, and I would consider that a short-term solution. But the long-term solution is to actually figure out how to increase your orders. For that is increasing your conversion rate. And then, of course, the separate strategy as a seller you can take is, for example, in the future, when you want to launch more selections, you could also consider doing a more premium solution to increase your average selling price. So essentially, that's a longer term, more recommended solution in terms of how to really increase your conversion rate in the longer term, rather than immediately turning off your campaigns. But of course, in terms of lowering CPC or lowering, essentially the amount of irrelevant clicks, there is also, keyword optimization, optimizing for keywords that are not working for you. And we'll take on like 4 next steps in the subsequent slides, and you will see how we can kind of essentially optimize our ACOS. But I just want to call out for most of our sellers, for a lot of newbie sellers, get very scared when they get a very high ACOS, and your first gut instinct is to shut off your campaigns, but it actually will kind of affect your long-term growth, and you should be taking advantage of the initial honeymoon phase for a lot of the new sellers, or if you're launching new products as a mature seller. So this is essentially kind of the watch out for most of our sellers. Yeah. So the first thing, right, how to affect CPC. So if you notice that, you are getting a number of clicks, but they are very, very high cost per click, right? One of the things that we want to recommend is, for example, we want to take a look at the recommended bid amount. So for example, I'm bidding currently 40 cents on essentially, the keyword kitchen pot. But I've noticed that I've been getting clicks in the long term, but I haven't been getting conversion, or I haven't been getting orders. We could consider, for example, lowering the bid slightly in order to help your cost per click and in order to help your ACOS. So the concern here is that you should be getting clicks. So clicks are the one that's causing you to get ACOS, right? But if you notice that in the next 1 week or the next 2 weeks or even in the next 1 month, you consistently keep getting clicks, right? Maybe you're selling a kitchen pot and you keep getting a lot of clicks in terms of kitchen pot, but you're actually not really getting orders. There are a few problems here, but the first one would be definitely you can consider reducing your bid if you keep not getting any orders. Secondly, you need to consider why. If you are selling a kitchen pot, but the keyword kitchen pot isn't making sense for you, and it isn't converting, it could also mean an issue with your listing. Maybe people are considering that your listing is probably not super relevant or not strong enough. That's why they click on your ad, but they decide not to buy because they see other competitor listings, or they see other better listings around. Right. So the second tip essentially to kind of optimize this is that will have an impact on both CPC as well. It will have an impact on your clicks as well as your orders, is to optimize your listing. And you want to kind of pick kind of your background keywords and optimize like what are some of the working keywords for you. And then of course you want to take a look at your overall account scores, your listing scores, your IDQ scores, essentially to take a look at your sales volume, your conversion rate, your ratings, and your account health in general. And then in terms of this, the other factor is if you happen to have a reasonable cost per click, right, and they are relevant keywords for you, but you're not getting enough clicks, this is also an issue with your listing relevance firstly. So maybe I'm bidding for, kitchen pot. But maybe perhaps your listing is not coming across clearly that it's a kitchen pot, or our headline, something is wrong, or there could be an issue with our pricing or our reviews. The second one is to improve the keyword and the product targeting. So for example, we could be bidding for the keyword kitchen pot in broad match, right? And broad match means that it's very loosely matched to different keywords. So you want to download your search term report and try to see if there are very broad or super generic keywords that are being bidded on. For example, if you do keyword kitchen pot in broad match, you could be targeting keywords like kitchen, or you could be targeting keywords like pot, right? But it's very, very, very generic. Someone could be looking for something a bit more specific, like a cast iron kitchen pot, right? Or a non-stick kitchen pot. So over the long term, how to improve this is to actually to harvest longer tail or more specific keywords that are relevant to your product. So your product could be cast iron kitchen pot, or your product could be a non-stick stainless steel kitchen pot, for example, and you want to rely more on this kind of more specific keywords rather than relying on extremely broad keywords. So for extremely broad keywords, hand in hand, we can lower slightly our bids, maybe for keywords like pots, right, which is going to be expensive, it's very generic, could be getting a lot of clicks, and then we spend a bit more money instead on longer tail keywords that are exactly the product that we're selling and we're getting good conversion from. And then of course, again, if you happen to see that you're already bidding on, for example, stainless steel kitchen pot, but we're still not getting the clicks, competitive analysis is also necessary. Are you being pressured by other competitors offering a huge amount of deals, a huge amount of coupons? One alternative solution is to do competitive review to see if you're matching in terms of features, and then of course also to adopt tactics like coupons and deals to increase the number of clicks as well. And then of course, the longer tail, right? Longer term solution is, as I say, influencing your own average selling price. So there are a few different kind of solutions you can choose to upsell. So using virtual bundles or bundle sales strategy to increase your average selling price, or to do cross-sell. So you could also try to use product targeting using sponsored products or sponsored display, essentially to kind of get people to add more into their basket, and essentially influence the average selling price and increase the overall spend in terms of your products that you're selling. And then, of course, in terms of lowering the ACOS, right, the solution here is to increase the number of orders. So this means that you need to improve your conversion rate. So conversion rate, there is honestly three super important points. So number one is definitely always to optimize your listing quality. So if you're getting a lot of clicks, you're getting a normal CPC is not insanely high, it could mean that you just have to take a review of what are the other competitors appearing on your product detail page. It could mean that their A+ content or their hero images are much stronger. And I think Jin-Liang has a lot of listing optimization tactics that we have shared, and you can find on our YouTube channel. So please tune into those. Number two, it's also the right targeting. So later we will kind of go through a seller case in terms of how to optimize your keyword and your products targeting by performance. And then thirdly, if you're a more mature seller, or you've been selling for a while, but you notice that you always get clicks, but you notice that somehow I'm not getting a lot of orders, but then you notice a few competitors always appearing around your listing. I think that's the most irritating thing, right? You're selling maybe a kitchen pot, but then maybe you see, like, for example, other kitchen pot sellers appearing on the top of your listing page, on your right, on the below carousel. So this is what we often call a defensive strategy. We have to find a defensive strategy to defend ourselves from this kind of sellers that are eating into our traffic, so that in that way, we are actually using product targeting of sponsored products and sponsored display to protect our listing. So this is what we can do for our orders. And over here, like, I'll share with you kind of the 4 different checklists in terms of how to manage your ACOS, right? So firstly, we will cover, using sponsored products, automatic and manual targeting together, and of course, how to allocate our budget reasonably. The second is using our keywords, right? Using multiple match types at the same time. And then third is how to do the bid adjustments by our reports. And fourth, of course, when it comes to optimizing ACOS, is to definitely start using negative targeting. So going straight into it, right? Essentially, we need to basically the very first step for most of the sellers that have been coming to my webinar. If you've watched my webinars on the replay, the first step is always to launch automatic targeting. So this is the search engine, right? Or this is the engine that is going to serve you what are the relevant keywords for you. And then step 2 is to essentially to click the search terms on your ads console to see what is the performance of each of your search terms. So if you go to your ads console, you click on campaign, you click on the specific automatic campaign. If you click on search terms, which you see under the campaign group, you will see the actual customer search term, right? To see the performance of each of these search terms. For example, here is Bluetooth keyword, Bluetooth Wi-Fi keyboard. Then, of course, the 3 key metrics that we kind of need to pay attention to will be impressions, click-through rate, and clicks, and conversion rate of each search term. And over here, you'll want to find highly effective, so what I call the most relevant keywords for you. So that will be the 3 highs: high impression, high clicks, and high conversion keywords, and then do manual targeting on this, right? And over time, we want to start spending more money on manual targeting rather than automatic targeting. So in the longer term, actually, we should start shifting towards a 60 to 70% budget on our manual campaigns, on our manual keyword campaigns, and we lower our budget slightly for our automatic campaign. So we sustain the automatic campaign as an algorithm, right? An engine that continuously feeds you effective keywords with high impressions, high clicks, and high conversion. And then we take all these effective keywords, which we call hero keywords, and we put it into our manual campaign, and we put more budget behind those. So of course, as we mentioned, we set keyword targeting, we set product targeting, both of them ideally into separate campaigns, and we want to put essentially a high bid setting for our high conversion keywords, and then we will want to set up low bid settings for our high clicks. So meaning, we could be getting keywords that are getting a lot of clicks, but we need to monitor them, right? So we will kind of lower our bids slightly. But if we see that keywords and ASINs keep giving us very high orders, naturally we need to stay 10 to 20% higher in terms of our bid for all these hero keywords. So please pay attention for ACOS. The priority will be high conversion keywords, right? Keywords or ASIN that are giving you very good orders. For high click keywords, we need to monitor. So the keyword here is that it's monitor, because it's going to give you high ACOS, right? Definitely, because it's CPC times the number of clicks that we're getting. If the keyword is working well for you, it is relevant to your product, we need to monitor it. Why are we getting clicks? Are we getting good enough orders? That is the next question to ask. So if over time we notice keywords that have high clicks, but they're also giving us orders, then we can continue to sustain them. But if we're getting high clicks, but we don't get orders for the next 1 month or 2 months, then this is something that we can consider actually negatively targeting if we cannot sustain that, and that it's causing our ACOS to increase too much. So this is the second tip. Yes. So again, over here is investing reasonably in the 2 different kind of targeting campaigns, right? So of course, when we just launch automatic targeting, this is for new sellers. The key objective in the initial stage is to review your listing and to do a new product launch. And that's where we start finding keywords, the initial keywords that are working for our campaign. How to bidding when it comes to automatic targeting is to bid at 10 to 20% above the recommended bid, and to run all 4 matching methods under automatic targeting at the same time. Right, and at the beginning stage, we want to allocate most of our budget to automatic targeting for new sellers. However, once we've moved beyond automatic targeting, we want to refine and optimize our ACOS. The key objective here is actually to monitor the traffic that is coming in, and the key metric that we want to look at is click-through rate when it comes to automatic targeting and manual targeting. So when it comes to manual targeting, we want to bid higher for high-performing keywords, and we want to bid a bit lower for very, very generic or category keywords. So for example, in the example of kitchen pot, we want to actually put more of our budget behind long-tail keywords like stainless steel kitchen pot, if that's the product that we're selling. And we want to actually slowly lower our bid for category keyword, like maybe kitchen pot or kitchen utensil, or something that is very generic. You'll be fighting with a lot of other people for generic category keywords, right? So you can sustain a slightly lower bid for those keywords, and try to kind of find out what is the longer tail keywords that's actually giving you more orders and more conversion rate, and bid higher for those. And then for automatic targeting, recommendation is to keep it ongoing, right? It's going to give you new keywords, right? For example, when we're coming closer towards, maybe the PBDD, like Prime Day big deals, or if you're coming closer to Black Friday, you might notice like new keywords popping up in your automatic targeting, right? Like kitchen pot Black Friday discounts. Those could be potential keywords that suddenly surface nearer peak season, and you want to make sure you catch those keywords and put it into manual targeting, right? And capture, seasonal demand, for example. So we should always try to sustain our automatic targeting, but we can actually lower our bid and budget than before, right? And then we'll put more into manual targeting. So we can consider 50-50, or even 40% to automatic, 60% to manual targeting. So this is our budget split, and invest in both. The second part will be our keyword strategy. So again, similar to how we take automatic targeting as an engine to give you new keywords, right? To kind of put out the new trends in the customer search terms. How we adopt keyword match types also can help us to surface really good keywords that are working for us. So for a lot of sellers that are starting manual keyword campaigns, I actually recommend sellers to do all 3. So for instance, for the example of, okay, maybe no longer kitchen pot, right? Like if we use, for example, coffee maker, right? Or coffee machine. So, sorry, the example here is Bluetooth keyboard. I might as well stick with Bluetooth keyboard. So, okay, for example, if you're selling a Bluetooth keyboard, then when it comes to broad match, you will be targeting, for example, red Bluetooth portable keyboard for men. So broad match, you can take it as really, generic kind of keyword targeting. So the issue with broad match is definitely, the pros is that it functions similar to automatic targeting. It's a database for you to create further ad groups and further better keywords that you put into phrase and your exact match, right? So it helps you to continue searching for high performance customer search terms. And it's a tool for you to detect trends in the market, right? So for example, if the next big trend in Bluetooth keyboards, right, is a neon light Bluetooth keyboard. If suddenly there's a big celebrity out there that is pushing a neon light Bluetooth keyboard, it's going to surface this trend to you and you can capitalize it on it and actually put it into phrase and exact match, for example, right? If you're happening to sell the same product. So essentially, broad match, it tends to be a bit generic. It can lead to a bit higher ACOS, I would say, most of the time, because you're targeting very, very broad keywords. So if you want to do negative targeting, you notice some keywords that are not working well in terms of broad match. So for example, if I'm selling Bluetooth keyboard, but in broad match, they can also target just keyboard, right? But then you notice you're getting a lot of clicks from keyboard, but you're not getting a good enough conversion, then you might want to target very irrelevant keywords, or keywords that are just spending all your advertising spend without any conversions. So that's broad match. Just keep it on, but then put a little bit less money behind broad match, and just use it as a tool to find out very effective keywords for you, which you again transition into phrase match. So if you notice from broad match, hey, red Bluetooth keyboard, it's actually generating pretty good orders for me. I'll put that exact phrase into a phrase match campaign. So you want to set up a separate ad group, or even set up a completely different campaign. So manual keyword phrase match campaigns, and essentially put it into phrase match. And then from phrase match, it's also another engine for you to find the super long tail keyword, right? Like an exact match of what you're selling, right? Red Bluetooth keyboard. And then essentially you can target a very exact, very specific long tail keyword that you want to put into your exact match campaigns. So this is where all your best performing keywords, ultimate hero keywords, you put into exact match, long tail search terms. And essentially you want to put most of your money actually behind exact match, because it's the most specific to the product that you're selling. And then of course, the priority is putting your budget and putting a 10 to 20% higher bid amount for both exact and phrase match. And then we lower our bids a little bit for our broad match campaigns. So this is essentially, a transition, right? The focus to improving your conversion is to find keywords in broad, optimize it into phrase, and then put it in phrase, and then optimize it further into exact match. So this is the step-by-step for keyword optimization. And then of course, we take a look at bid adjustments, right? How to change your bids. So essentially, how in general we want to take a look at adjusting your bid. So for most sellers, when you go onto Ads Console, I want you to start adding a metric called CPC, cost per click, right? And essentially, you want to always compare your CPC versus your bid, right? What keyword you're bidding on. So for example, Bluetooth keyboard. If I'm bidding, for example, right, the recommended bid from Amazon is actually $1. Our bid should always start at around 10% higher than the Amazon recommended bid amount. But then once you've launched the campaign, you want to take a look at a few factors, right? If you happen to have low impressions, then you want to understand, how come I'm getting low impressions? What's wrong? So you can detect that versus CPC. CPC is basically the winning bid, the average winning bid in the past 7 days. It could be you, or it could be your competitor. So if you've already started bidding at $1 or $1.10, but then when you take a look at CPC, if you notice the CPC is higher than you, or very, very similar to you at around $1.10 to $1.20, you notice that, hey, I'm basically getting outbidded. Basically, someone else is bidding higher than you. That's why you're not getting any impressions. You could increase the bid, right? If the CPC is lower than your bid amount at 50 cents, this could also essentially mean that, if you're not getting good enough impressions, but hey, CPC is lower, how come I'm not winning it? The issue is actually your listing. It could be your listing. It means that the Amazon algorithm doesn't think that your listing is relevant. That's why they are not serving your ad to the people that you want to see your ad. And that's why CPC is still lower than your bid amount. So you might want to optimize your listing, right? You want to put the keyword, for example, Bluetooth keyboard, into your bullet points, into your long descriptions, into your A+ content, to basically increase your listing relevance, so that Amazon gets the signals that, hey, my listing is relevant and selling a Bluetooth keyword. Please serve me to the people that are searching for Bluetooth keywords. Alternatively, you could be using down-only bidding, right? Maybe Amazon also lowers your bid automatically for you, but somehow you lost the bid. So here you can also alternatively choose to use fixed bids. So if you're not getting impressions, you're already bidding higher than CPC, optimize your listings or to use fixed bidding strategy. The second scenario is that you're getting very, very high impressions. So the next step, right, that's a good thing, you're getting high impressions, means that your ad is exposed to a lot of people. That's the best scenario possible. So the next step is definitely to check the other two metrics, which is click-through rate, how many clicks you're getting, and how many conversions you're getting, right? CVR is conversions, how many orders you're getting. So if your click-through rate or your conversion rate is actually in a pretty high end, or you're satisfied with your number of clicks, you're satisfied you're getting decent number of orders, you want to, of course, compare your CPC and just ensure that you are always 10 to 20% higher than CPC. So this means, right, essentially, if you're getting high keywords, high impressions, high click-through rate, high conversion rate, it means that it's a hero keyword already. And over here, you want to ensure that you have enough budget, sufficient budget for your campaign. You want to increase your bid because these are your hero keywords. It's giving you the clicks and orders you need. So you want to ensure that you always stay higher than CPC, 10 to 20% higher than CPC. However, if you're getting very high impressions, your ad is being shown, but somehow you're not getting clicks, you're not getting conversions, that's also a slightly tricky issue. Over here, you want to optimize your ads, right? Optimize the keywords. Maybe the keyword is too generic. Maybe we're using automatic targeting, or maybe we're using broad match a lot. So you're getting very high impressions, but then you want to further optimize into phrase and exact match. So that's step one, and increase your click-through rate. And of course, to optimize your listing, it could also mean that essentially, maybe your hero image is not strong enough. So take two actions: improve your keyword and your product targeting, and then of course ensure that you are using high quality hero image. So this is how to change the bids for our sellers. How to take a look at our keyword performance, right? That's where we essentially take a look at. If I have to say for most sellers, one key report, which is the most important for you, it will be the search term report for us to start optimizing our keywords, start optimizing our ad campaign and our ACOS. So essentially, you will see your latest sales and performance metrics for all your campaigns. And essentially, this is a case study, right? We take a look at an example of 4 different keywords, right? And what are the match types? So you'll notice that over here, it's all broad match. And then essentially, we take a look at our impressions over here, and you'll see that, we have a different range of impressions between 72,000 to 19. Impressions, and then our click-through rate ranging from the highest of 15% to a low of 0.8%, and then we have 7-day conversion rate, of course, from very, very high 100% conversion to super, super low conversion. So how do we firstly create keywords with high impressions and high conversion rates, right? So with high impressions and high conversion rates, I would say it would be basically the second keyword, the first to second keyword, right? So these two, they have moderately or decently high impressions, higher than average click-through rate, and higher than average conversion rate. I will put these keywords into phrase and exact match already. So we will take the keywords, A and AB, and put it into phrase and exact match. For this specific keyword, ABC, where we only have 19 impressions, right? But we have super high click-through rate, super high conversion rate. We need to find out what is the exact customer search term for this. And we could put it into exact match. Secondly, we need to take a look at CPC. How come the impressions are so low? It could mean that actually our bid is not high enough. I would say that probably this keyword is a very long tail keyword, right? Like, neon sign, Bluetooth keyboard, right? Maybe we are getting outbidded in terms of CPC, so we need to adjust our bids a little bit higher. And of course, we can shift it into exact or phrase match to capture people that are searching for this long tail keyword. What if your conversion rate is low, but your impressions and your click-through rate are very, very high, right? So for example, in the last specific keyword or product targeting, you'll see that we have such a high impression number. Click-through rate is also pretty high, but hey, how come my conversion rate is so low? Firstly, you need to ask, is this keyword relevant to me? Secondly, you want to monitor if it's relevant to you. It could also mean that, maybe you are just losing out to your competitors, right? Maybe if, for example, this keyword is wireless Bluetooth keyboard, it is relevant, you're getting a lot of clicks, but you're not getting orders. Maybe take a look at, what is appearing around your product detail page. Maybe a competitor with better price, better features is targeting you as well. We need to monitor, and in the long run, if you've already optimized your listing, you've already boosted your product detail page, you've already boosted your bullet points, you added your A+ content, you still try, you increase your CPC a little bit or your bid to match CPC, but you're still not getting orders, we can actually consider negatively targeting this keyword. So essentially, if you keep getting super high impressions, super high click-through rate, but no conversions at all, then you will want to actually start to consider putting it in negative targeting. So this is what we do, and this is a case study. So over here, just a recap of the solution, right? High impression, high conversion rate, CPC. You want to increase it and ensure you bid on your hero keywords. If you have low impressions but high conversion, you need to either separate it into an individual campaign. That's another tip. Or you just want to check whether essentially your bid is matching CPC or higher than CPC. You could be getting outbidded. And then the third thing is essentially, low conversion rate, but you get very high impression, high click-through rate. You need to optimize your keyword performance, optimize listing page, and monitor. If you monitor, you optimize already, still not working, negative targeted. So that's our 3 key actions coming on how to optimize your keyword performance in terms of your search term report. So I will actually skip this because we still have other content, and we can circle back to this again if we have for search term impression rank. Just to keep in mind, because I want to dive deeper into negative targeting. So the third or the subsequent other option that we have will be negative targeting. So we will want to actually start eliminating any kind of irrelevant or inefficient traffic for ourselves, right? So how to actually do that? So when it comes to automatic targeting, we have again keyword match types, right, which is loose match and close match. So here we can implement negative keyword, right? And then we can also implement negative product for your substitutes and as well as your complements. And when it comes to manual targeting, you can actually do negative keyword targeting or negative product or brand targeting as well. So when it comes to keywords, we can think of it as how narrow and how broad, right? We can do exact negative targeting, which is just exactly the certain keyword, right? Maybe for example, wired, or like a keyboard that is actually wired. I'm not selling that, so I can exact negative target the entire keyword. Or there are certain phrases that you find are very, very irrelevant to you. So very funny example that I heard from some of the Taiwanese seller was that he's actually selling a water tap, like your kitchen sink, the water tap, right? But then for some reason when he targeted the word tap, there were other taps available, like beer taps as well. So you'll notice that it's completely irrelevant to your category, but you might be getting traffic from it, but of course you'll never get orders from beer tap or people searching for a beer tap, right? So you negative target the entire search term that you find is completely irrelevant to you. So this is just one of the examples that's always stuck in my mind. And then of course there is brand negative targeting. If you find that you don't get conversion rate when you target a specific brand, maybe they just are a very established brand, or if they are just in a different price point, different kind of a competition sphere, then we can negative target a brand, or we can also negative target certain products, right? So one example is I consulted with a nail wrap seller. So it's like a stick-on nail sticker, right? She's been getting a lot of traffic from one specific brand, right? For example, Ohara, which is this specific brand or this specific product that is very popular in the market. But essentially, she never gets orders from that product, but she's been getting a lot of clicks, a lot of traffic. It could mean that that brand could be targeting your product detail page. Or, for example, you just happen to keep appearing beside that specific brand. So we can actually just negative target this brand or product if we find that it's not helping us in terms of generating orders in the long term. So that's how we use negative target. So the overall goal with negative targeting is that you want to improve your click-through rate. So when it comes to manual targeting, we do negative targeting by keyword, negative target by brand as well. Yeah. So how to do that? So there are two ways to do it. You can add negative keywords by a campaign setting. So the negative keyword applies to all the different ad groups that are under your certain campaign. So for example, here it could be your keyword campaign, right, for your Bluetooth speakers, right? And it could have, all the keyword campaigns under your Bluetooth speakers under one campaign, but you have broad, phrase, and exact. So if you add any negative keywords, it will apply to all your different ad groups. Or if you want it to be even more refined, you can set the negative keywords by ad group only as well. So specific keywords that you just want to exclude in certain of your ad groups. So maybe in your phrase match, you just want to remove a certain keyword, then it will apply only to that specific ad group in your phrase match ad group, for example. So this is the difference when setting negative keywords, right? And again, how to essentially take a look at take a look at the example here. So if you see that overall here, if, for example, you need to check if the keyword is, exact to you, and if the correct match method for the keyword is set, right? So we can take a look essentially, in terms of phrase, in terms of exact. We essentially need to start finding what are some of the keywords that are not working for us, and we insert it into essentially the different ad groups. So over here, we can take a look at this example, right, when it comes to negative keywords. So if you're selling a solid gold necklace, but you don't want a seller who wants to buy a plated necklace. So your necklace is solid gold, wow, very premium, right? But you don't want all these people looking for plated necklaces because, they probably have a lower price point that they want. You can negative exact target gold plated necklace and necklace gold plated. So essentially, you will be negatively targeting this exact keyword in itself, right? However, if someone happens to search for earrings gold plated in a different exact form, you will still be targeted. So to pay attention, for exact, it is the exact order and exact keywords that you've inserted. For example, if you do negative phrase, it means that it allows a bit of adjustments when it comes to essentially your word order. So gold-plated necklace, like gold-plated earrings, it will be negatively targeted. Necklace with gold-plated, negatively targeted. However, if the gold and plated is separated by a word, which is gold necklace plated, it will still be targeted. So this is the it sounds a bit confusing, but essentially for exact, it's the exact sequence of the word. And for gold plated, it's any phrase related to this keyword before and after, they will be negatively targeted. But if there is a word inserted in between, it will be shown. So this is the slight difference. Yeah. And how to essentially find, what keywords to basically negatively target, right? So in this example, you'll see that the person has tried to target the category power strips search protector, and then we can see the actual customer search terms. So these are ASINs, right? The exact ASINs that they're targeting. So we want to take a look, right? Like what is giving us very high impressions, very high clicks, but no orders, or certain kind of keywords or ASIN targets that have super high ACOS, right? And we want to kind of take a look at what are the sales that we're getting. So you'll see that, for example, we're getting good amount of sales from the last specific kind of ASIN, so maybe we could still keep it. However, if the first two, we notice that the ACOS continuously to creep upwards, but the sales don't increase, then we can actually target certain of our search terms, or you can actually even negative target power strips if it's just not working for you. So that's something that we can consider for our negative targeting. Yeah, so that's summarizing the ACOS checklist. Sorry, time check now. Are we overrunning already?
No. All good. All good. Yes.
Okay, so continuing where to actually check your ACOS. So it's available both on your ads console. So when you log into your campaign manager on advertising in Seller Central, you can see on both the campaign dashboard and your own individual ad performance dashboard. And it will also be available in most of our reports available, but of course, pay attention to your search term report, possibly targeting and campaign report for you to check your ACOS. And then, of course, how to set your ACOS, right? How to establish your ACOS and manage your performance. So you can actually estimate your ad spending based on your business objective. So the example that I will take here is, how to manage like your old stocks inventory, right? So maybe, for example, you stock in a product, but you really want to clear it ASAP. So we do a bottoms up like kind of approach. So essentially your goal here, we start with number one. I need to clear 100 pieces of maybe my Bluetooth speakers, right? Then I simply just assume I just need 100 orders, right? And historically, how much is your historical conversion rate at, like in terms of your overall ad campaign performance, or in terms of, in general, your overall account, what is your average conversion rate? So in this example, maybe my historical average conversion rate is 5%. So working backwards, it means that I need at least 2,000 people to see my listings, or I need a minimum of 2,000 ad clicks, essentially, right? So from 2,000, I times 5%, so I will get 100 orders sold. So then subsequently, I clear my 100 pieces. And then what is the average CPC for my overall campaigns, right? I can assume it at maybe $2, but that's a little bit high, but we monitor and see our average CPC for our campaign, right? And over here, so starting from the average CPC of my account, right, I need at least 2,000 ad clicks. So overall, I need to set a $4,000 budget. So assuming all the orders are advertised about our organic orders, so we need to assume that for our advertising attributed sales, right? So remember, ACOS is ad attributed sales. So assuming that the orders I get from my ads are at around 40%, then my estimated cost of running ads will be about $1,600. So this gives you a budget range of max $4,000, which means that almost 100% of your orders come from ads. Or usually, if I have some organic and I have some paid advertising orders or ad attributed orders, which is around 40%, that is the bottom floor of my budget, right, which is 1,600. So I can set a budget between $4,000 to $1,600 as an example. So if I want to clear this 100 pieces, with an average CPC of $2, this is the budget range that I need to set from a bottoms up approach. So we start with the average CPC, then roughly how many clicks I need, what is our average conversion rate, and then we kind of work from there. What is the budget that we need based on our business objective? Yeah. So in terms of our sales, we assume that our average price over here maybe could be $100, and then the ads target, right? We need to basically sell 100 pieces. I need to basically get 100 people to buy one and sell that 100 inventory. So we take average price times the number of new customers. So that is $10,000 estimated sales revenue. And then for our ad spend, essentially our average cost per click is around $2. And just now, as we mentioned, our historical conversion rate is around 5%. So the bottom lower floor, I would call it, or lower ad spending would be around 1,600. This is assuming we get some organic traffic. Or our maximum ad spend, assuming we 100% rely on ads, it will be $4,000 as we calculated just now. So your ACOS will essentially, as I mentioned, be ad spend divided by your total sales by ads. So over here, essentially, our minimum ad spend or minimum ACOS would be 1,600 divided by 10,000 in terms of the sales that we're getting, which is 16%, or maximum 100% driven by ads, it will be $4,000 divided by 10,000 from the 100 orders sold times the $100 average selling price. Then that means that essentially your lowest possible ACOS that you should be targeting is 16%, and the maximum ACOS that you can tolerate should be around 40% for this campaign, where essentially you're trying to clear your old stocks, right? So essentially the ad cost per dollar will be around 16 to around 40 cents. So this is how essentially we arrive at, what is a possible ACOS that we can tolerate when it comes to running our ad campaigns.
All right. So there's some resources from Seller University on Amazon ads, and also how you can some FAQ on ads, as well as our this QR code that I've added the ads, what do you call that, the like a guidebook, right, that you can download. Just scan the QR code. You can see there's a icon say Amazon ads. Okay, you click on it, and then you'll go to direct you to a GoToWebinar whereby there is another page you sign up just to get the guidebook from Amazon ads. All right, I think that would be very useful for all of you who have not yet downloaded it. Right, and then this is our webinar for September, and then we have Hui Qi again in our monthly ads webinar on the 26th of September. Right, and then other than that, if you are getting ready for the Q4 peak season, I think that will be a good session for you that we have in the first week of September. Okay, so now let's get on to the Q&A, huh?